It said if you want to identify God, God exists, God is one, and God, there's no beginning, there's no end. Right? Those three characteristics have relevance to Hashem. But he says, the three identifying characteristics of God. He exists, he's one, and there's no beginning, and there's no end. Right? That's he's infinite. When you think about one encompasses the other. To say he exists, that doesn't encompass the other two. But if you say he's one means in the absolute sense. Also, it's not. But if you say there's no beginning, there's no end, that definitely encompasses the other two. Correct? That means nothing exists outside of him. There's no beginning, there's no end. He's infinite. Something, when we say something is one in the absolute sense, he's explained before. You have species. All human beings. That's classified, it's one species. Right? So it's one regarding the species. But there are other species. You have animals. So it's not one in the absolute sense. And what about if you take the species and you divide it into categories? More intelligent, less intelligent people. Males, females. So even with categories, you have one. So everything's relative to what you're dealing with. So it's not one in the absolute. It's not absolutely one. But when we speak about God, God is one in the absolute sense. No, there are a lot of things that are unique, right? This is more than unique. This is absolutely one. You know, you speak about perfection. You know, he's a perfect person. That's only relatively speaking. He's not perfect in the absolute sense, right? Nobody's perfect. Only God is perfect. Because there's not, whatever it is, he's absolute on an infinite level. Because the reason why you say it, the Gemara says, because when you say echad, you're supposed to think certain things, right? You're supposed to think four corners, and right, and up and down. So you think for what? You say echad, like you don't always say echad. So you extend it because you're supposed to have that thought in your mind. If you say echad, there's no time to think it. So you're longing to dalid to have that mindset. That's the reason why you draw it out a little bit. Yeah. Look, the Gemara goes through a whole list of mispronunciations regarding saying Kriya Shema. Right? They don't pronounce it. For instance, when you start the first, no, Vahavto. How do you say it? Most maybe say Vahavto, like it's a fey rather than a vase. A vase. Is it Vahavto or Vahavto? You say Vahavto, you're not saying it's not pronounced correctly. Right? It's a fey. Vahavto, that's a vase. Right? Well, like I said, Levavcha, al-Levavcha. It's two words. You know, there's a slight pause. It's not one word. It's al-Levavcha. V'chora'af. Right? These are all the Gemara's. People pronounce v'chora'af. There's no word v'chora'af. It's v'chora'af. It's two different words. So you're talking about here, we have to talk about the Dalit. Okay? Many in brachos. That's where it speaks about all the mispronunciations. Okay? No, exactly. It's the Dalit for that reason. Ubiyazekil echad o emes shu dovik v'kayim b'shum dover tzorach al kolponim shiyad nimtzu kadmon b'mneish borer, he says, because we verified earlier ki ad nedor lo yisuper be'echad v'lo berov. Ki ad neder, if you have a vacuum, lo yisuper be'echad v'lo berov, We can't speak about its oneness or its enormity. Because if you have a vacuum, what does that mean? That means it exists within, right? God doesn't exist within anything. You know, there's a famous word from Rav Chaim Volozhin. It's really a medrash. It says Hashem is referred to as Mokom, right? Baruch HaMokom. What do you mean? God is the place, right? So the medrash says that Hu Mekomo Shel Olam Ve'eino Olam Mekomo. Those are the words in the medrash. He is the location of existence. Existence is not his location. If existence is location, that means he exists within. But rather, he is the location of existence. What does it mean, he's the location of existence? No, because existence exists because he wills that location. That's the location. So Reb Chaim Volozhin explains, what is a location? A location has the capacity to contain. So the item that exists within the location, it's contained there because of the location. So why does existence exist? Because God wills it. So Hashem is the equivalent. He's the Mekobo Shel Olam. He's the basis for existence. That's how Rav Chaim Volozhin explains it. Of course. Then he's existing in the location. Then he's finite. To be continued. Time is within location. Time is finite. God has no relevance to time. Well, time is within location also. It's both. No, but again, it's a term. It's a term. It's only a borrowed term in terms of... Okay, let's get back to Kedushin. No, you don't have to be a major expert in all this. Echad, he's one, finished. Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is, but let me tell you something. But that's what he's showing. You have an obligation to delve, because, you know, there's so many curveballs in life. Unless you really get it, you can be toppled. The deeper the roots, as strongly as the winds blow, you're not going to be knocked over. No, as much as we don't understand, there are many things we could understand. Things don't exist because once they exist, they're always here. No. Every moment they exist because there's somebody willing they exist. Right? I mean, there's certain basic things that we could relate to. Right? I always give an example. You have an electric bulb. Right? Person who never saw an electric bulb, he sees this thing glowing. What does he think? It's a material that glows. He doesn't realize there's a current which heats the element which causes it to glow. All of a sudden, you shut off the electricity. So what happened? Right? It has, because it's made in the material that it's iridescent. It glows regardless whether it is reflecting light or not. It's not a reality. This exists. What does it exist? Well, the table's here. It's here. Well, of course, it will eventually deteriorate, decompose. Okay, but until then, not. Because it's subject to, no. It's here every second because God wills that this table should be here every second. If you should cease willing that, there's no table. It's not the table's destroyed. There's no table. Pre-existence is there's nothing. Even nothing is something. Vacuum is also part of creation. So what is it? We have no idea what it is. Good. But we could understand up to a point. So one of the tenets of Jewish belief is what? That God knows the thoughts of man. Right? It's one of the Yud Gimel Ikri Emunah. He knows Machshava Sodom. He knows your thought. How does God know what's in my mind? So what would you say? So what? What do you mean he knows you? No, that's not why. You create something, right? You create it. You make a machine. It's your genius to put a machine. Wait a second. I'll ask you. You create a machine that processes data. At this moment, what is the machine doing? Could you tell me what the machine is doing at this moment? You don't know what it's doing at this moment, right? How's God an hour ahead? Right? So what's the answer? The thought process. Why is that thought process continuous? Because God wills that thought process every moment. So every thought that is a result of the thought process, of the chemical activity in your brain, who's willing that system continuously? That God is involved in that. You understand? So of course God knows your thought process. It's based on this principle. It's not because you were born, now you live, and he pulls the plug on you. It's not pulling the plug. Every moment that every aspect of your being functions is because he's generating that reality. You understand? See, of course he knows. He knows everything. He knows your blood pressure without putting a blood pressure cuff on your arm, right? No problem. He knows there's nothing, because every aspect of your being is being willed by him. Continuous. Because you can't see, you have to say that. See, one, you can't talk about schar v'onesh unless he knows your thought process. Right? How could you talk about schar? He rewards you for doing mitzvah lishma. Or this, how does he even know what I'm thinking? Right? Or how does he aware what I did? But if every aspect of your life exists as it does because he wills it should, so of course he's in touch with you. Bechira is something else. But even Bechira, even Bechira he's willing that. He's not forcing that, but he's willing that you should have the koach Bechira. Doesn't report back to you. He's in touch when you're doing it, because he gives you the ability to do it.